We had quite a few comments on that, actually. Like, I tuned in, the first thing we heard was a penis.
Can you run a competition for DCS players? Who draws the best penis in the sky in DCS? Which
Ooh, can we do that?
Sure,
we leave
how can you
trails,
do?
Sure.
I think you need to have like 2 people do it because like the contrails won't last unless somebody can edit the Lua files that would make the contrails last.
Oh yeah.
How about some of those the real virtual Thunderbirds? Could the real virtual Thunderbirds maybe do a Sky Penis event?
The first annual Air Combat Sim Sky Penis event, brought to you by
the Air Sim. That would be pretty good.
Thrustmaster.
Eagle Dynamics presents in association with
the Geico Sky Typers.
Never gets old. All right. Anyway, I guess we'll roll into it so we can move on and do other things.
Eastern group now turning cold, Angels 12. Bogey Dope Western group. 285 and 43 blocks. Okay, I go well south of the line, 14 miles.
Red 9 Slasher 02 copies, clear to engage. Danger close.
Clear the kill, clear the kill. He's abandoned the
we receive not just light automatic
Mindy, let's come hard left. Roger, just hit deep hammer. That's them right there.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Air Combat Sim Podcast. This is Casmo, and I'm going to apologize early. This episode is kind of screwed up. So we recorded a few days ago, and unfortunately the audio files didn't copy correctly or something. I don't know. We only got half of them from the service that we record on. And yeah, we're all kind of bummed about it because we thought it was a pretty good episode and fun. But it's Thanksgiving Day. I'm sitting in a hotel room. I was going to edit and get it published, and unfortunately, obviously, I can't do that. But what I can do is present to you a couple of the interviews that we ran. Now, the first one we'll run is a short interview that I conducted with Merrick and Alec, who are running a Kickstarter that I really encourage you guys to check out here. It's running for the next couple weeks, and it's for a system they call Unbound. And essentially, these are some plates that you can install on your armrest of your office chair. Now, depending on the type of office chair you have, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the interview, but it allows you to place your throttle or other controls on a standard desk chair. So yeah, I would encourage you to take a look at them and have a listen to this interview. All right, well, you guys just, go ahead and introduce yourselves and your company and what you got going on.
Hi, my name is Merrick. I'm currently in the Navy. Long story short, born in Poland, emigrated to U.S., joined the Navy when I was 17. Always wanted to fly. Started as an aircraft mechanic, but I wanted to drive the bus, so I became a pilot, and I carried that with me into this product, which is kind of labor of love. And, well, that's a short story about me.
I am the production manager for the company. So we found Modic, Modic reached out to us. He has a pending or a patent application in a provisional patent, and reached out to my father, who is a patent attorney. And we created a bond that way. He was looking for someone to help him get a full patent, and we love the product. We were super about it. I come from a military family. My brother's a pilot, and we were like, absolutely, this is the greatest thing ever. But we'd love to do more than just get involved on a patent basis. We want to get involved on a whole business basis. This sounds like something we absolutely want to be a part of. So that was how the whole thing started. And then my best friend, who's lifelong gamer, joined the group. He is a digital marketer. We've launched other products together. We've done overseas importing together. And he has a lot of experience in this area. So he's the one helping us with all the Kickstarters and the websites and the advertising and all that complicated digital stuff.
Okay, so tell us about the product. I mean, what is your company's name? What is the product's name, and what does it do?
So we're Techicity, and our product is the Unbound System. So what it is, it's a receiver that mounts under the armrest of your chair. This is your standard desk chair. We found that the majority of desk chairs actually have the same armrest. So with that, you mount this receiver under your armrest. And then we've made all kinds of add-ons and systems that you plug into those to then enable you to have a flight sim, a driving sim, a gaming desk, a whole-blown workstation if you want. And then on top of our add-ons, we've also added a spot to mount accessories. So you can add things like cup holders, a storage bag, something to hold your VR nunchucks so they're always within reach. But the goal was basically to bring the sim feeling to your average desk chair at a very affordable cost.
So part of it, why I did it, the invention the way I did, it's, ergonomics. As a pilot, you 100%, I'm sure that you know that adjusting seat and armrest is crucial in having the repeat performance during the flight. So that was one of the reasons that I wanted to attach something to the armrest. So it's always in the same position and I can get used to it. Plus, it is literally at the end of the armrest. So you are flying with the wrist, making small adjustment using the small muscles of the wrist. Versus if it's on the desk, you're using, your whole arm, big muscles, imprecise inputs. So that was one of the reasons that I really, really concentrated on the armrest.
So essentially, you take apart the armrest, attach this connector, and then the other components that hold stuff then slide into that connector. Is that how essentially it works?
Correct, and it uses the existing screws of the armrests, which is very interesting, but all the armrests of this type have a 4-inch or 10 centimeters spacing for the holes. So it is truly universal for those type of armrests.
Okay. And I know we'll talk about the Kickstarter, but just looking through it, I mean, and you kind of touched on it, there's a whole bunch of accessories that you can do with it, but I saw one that had like the whole front of you. It was like being in a baby seat, a booster chair. You had a giant thing where you could put I guess a yoke or whatever, but then you had the also on each side where you could have a joystick on each side or a throttle or something like that. I mean, what else? What other kind of options are there?
So there's mini desks on either side that are small gaming platforms. So that works great with a half keyboard, a mouse. And so that was something that we didn't know we wanted at first. We were looking for this big desk. We were looking for the joysticks. And then we always wanted the driving sim aspect of it. So the driving sim is actually compatible with the yoke also. It just so happened that those have very similar placements for the ergonomics. And then the little desks was something that we came up afterwards, where we had the big desk and realized that if you're someone like me, I like my shooters, I like my MOBAs, big League of Legends guy. So with that, I only need the half keyboard and then a mouse. So I ended up picking those up and having them directly in front of your arms. It's incredibly comfortable. I mean, you can unlimited amount. You can park in front of a TV. You don't need a full setup if you don't have one, or if your wife won't let you have one. That's the other thing. It's a much less committed simulator than a lot of other things out there.
Yeah.
And the other part was also for I'm a VR flyer. So having, again, the joystick and throttle in the fixed position, you always know where it's at, but also having the nunchuck holders, it's great because you don't have to kind of, blindly try to put them on the table while you're switching to your joystick. They are right there. So VR, it's amazing with this setup.
So what about weight? So a lot of these, I have a Virpil Mongoose throttle. This thing is 1,000 pounds. What kind of issues are there any issues with those heavier pieces of equipment? Because in this flight, sim community, there's a lot of pieces of equipment that are pretty heavy. I just feel like it hanging kind of off the end of your chair. I mean, is there any issues with that?
The system is very, very strong. It is not going to be the limiting factor. It's based with, we don't use the aluminum construction that you'll see in some of the other ones. We actually went with steel because we have a much smaller out, so that weight doesn't hurt us. And it allows us to use thinner plates. It's much stiffer for the size. Steel is actually 3 times stiffer than aluminum. So we end up using smaller plates, get the same rigidity out of it, which I know has been a question that a lot of people have had, is like, oh, that plate looks too skinny. Trust me, it's A36 steel. It is solid as a rock and very, very, very heavy. The armrests, actually, it would surprise you, they can hold a ton of weight. I mean, even when I can put the desk or the yoke desk on my chair, and I use a crappy GTR racing chair. It's like $130. You can put a 45-pound plate on it, leave it for days. It's not going to have a single problem. Because those arms actually have just a metal structure underneath of it, and then they have some decorative plastic on the outside, but they really are either aluminum or steel, depending on what chair you have. So they hold a ton of weight. I know we've also had questions about wobble with armrests, and it's very interesting. But when you put weight in front of the armrest, it actually reduces the wobble of the armrest, because people, oh, my armrest shake. Trust me, you put, like you said, the Verpool, the VKB, you get a Mongoose out there, and suddenly it doesn't shake anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's another reason why I went with the steel plate, because it's heavier, and you're like, oh, I wouldn't think you'd want more weight. You actually do. It causes it to stabilize quite a bit.
Sure. I'm sitting here as you're talking. I'm just kind of holding my hand down hard on my chair armrest, and yeah, I mean you're holding it in place, and you're just essentially holding it in place with a steel plate. So, and then the manner in which it connects to it, yeah, it's not gonna wobble. So, and we were talking before we started recording. It's built right now with the idea of a standard office chair, where the I guess probably 2 screws underneath the armrest. Is that kind of the standard? Okay. And then you guys were talking about, because my chair unfortunately doesn't have that, because I'd love to have this product, but you have some ideas in the future of some different designs to cover different types of chairs?
So yes, and those are actually covered in the patent also. But what we are doing right now, it's we are looking at bringing something to the market, and unfortunately for us, we are right now small veteran-owned business, so we have to come out in tiers. We can't just have everything for everyone at once, because we are not multi-million-dollar company yet. But we want to move in that direction. But we do have a rapid prototyping and rapid production capabilities, which will allow us within every few months to add a new model, new accessories, or some kind of new device. Just to mention few, we have already prototypes of USB hubs that can be, attached to this very device with a magnetic connector to the computer. So it's basically like old Macs at the Mac connectors, so it's safe. We also are working on the Rumble Pack. So we are really branching out, and we are looking in all directions, but we also wanted to go with our core design. So like Alec mentioned, the next step would be whole armrests for the people that don't have chairs with the solid armrests. And then the next step would be a chair. So that is in the plans, and that will be coming out, in the future. But at this time, we are concentrating on the Kickstarter and this design.
So tell us a little bit about your Kickstarter. It just started as the time of us recording this. It's the 16th of November, but it just started, I think, a few days ago. How long is it running? And tell us a little bit about what you can get if people get behind this product.
Running for 30 days. We are 30% funded already. We're very, very happy about that. We are offering on there the flight sim package, the yoke and drive or steering wheel package, the desk package, and then the mini desks, which are those side armrest desks. And then also, once you get into it, we're also offering all of our accessories that we have right now. There's 9 different accessories. And then one other question we've had on there is the center mount joystick is also on there as an add-on for the flight system. So some people have said, oh, I have to buy the package for that. You don't have to buy that elite gaming package. You just have to buy one of the flight sims and then add it on there because they work together. And everything is discounted. It's $40 off, about 22% off of the retail for all that stuff right now for everyone who gets in early.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, we should definitely get this episode out in time for people to take a look at that Kickstarter, and we'll share it also on the website, the Facebook before this gets out, so people can get the word out. Because, like I said, I mean, honestly, when I saw it, I was like, this, because I've been struggling. I have this Verpool, but it's in this weird spot, and I don't like it, but I can't really do anything else with it. And I've tried to think like, well, how could I do essentially what you guys have created? But I don't know how to do that stuff. And then when Merrick shared it on Facebook, I saw it and I immediately got behind that. And I think it looks good, and I think it gets some great ideas. And yeah, once you figure out how to put it on my type of chair, I'll be more than willing to test it for you. But no, it looks great, and I encourage people to definitely check it out. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time today and sharing that with us.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, well, again, that Kickstarter is running through the early part of December, and we'll put a link in the show notes for this episode so you guys can check that out. So for our second interview, Tricker and Baltic Dragon had a chance to sit down with Ron from Razbam and talk about the upcoming F-15 Strike Eagle, which I'm really looking forward to. I know a lot of you guys are as well, and I think you'll enjoy this interview.
All right, welcome everybody to a special interview here with Ron from Razbam. We're going to be talking about the F-15E Strike Eagle. So welcome Ron. It's good to have you back on the show.
Thank you guys for inviting me over.
And we have our special Mr. Host here, Baltic Dragon. So thank you for joining us, Baltic Dragon.
Hey guys, good to be back.
So what can you tell us, Ron, that's the latest and greatest with the F-15 Strike Eagle? Like what's groundbreaking on the F-15 that you want to tell the folks?
Okay, I don't know, some of you are following us through our Discord channel, where we actually post a lot of new info about it, and my Twitter. But what I can say that I'm glad to say that we have reached a milestone in development of the aircraft, which puts us in a position that we can be pretty certain that it's going to the user's hands in a really close term. I cannot say exactly when, because you know how it is in this business. We have to keep some things under wraps until it's really ready to be out there. Mm-hmm. But I'm confident on what we have. I'm really happy to see where we are right now with this aircraft, which is being a really complicated and very complex aircraft to develop. I think I'm probably right saying now that it's probably the most complex aircraft to DCS yet, and that all the people involved in this development have been so devoted into creating what we have done now. I'm pretty sure also it's going to be something that has not been seen yet in DCS realm as a study level aircraft. We have an amazing radar technology created by one of our amazing developers. It's solely working on radar, and the information we have with the SMEs, the absolutely amazing 3D work made by Tim Taylor, who is known as Metal to Mesh out there, and all the other guys involved, allows me to say that this is going to be a really good product out there. And we are not rushing things. We are just waiting for things to be in a position that we can say it's ready to be out there for the public. So of course it's going to be an early access like everything else in DCS, but it's not going to be a broken early access. It's going to be basically something that we can say it's ready for you guys to enjoy. That's why it's taken so long for us to release it. We have reached many milestones in the development. For instance, like I said a few minutes ago, radar technology, air-to-ground radar, air-to-air radar, that while right now are not perfect, they are ready to be used for the community. It's a huge learning curve for anything in this bird, including the radar. It's a lot of interpretation you got to understand, and a lot of stuff you got to read. But the way it's going to be released is going to be in a way that you can actually expect to have fun, to call it some way, using this aircraft, and not having to be waiting for some fix for whatever is going to be out there from day one. So that's our goal. That's been our position inside the development team, that anything that comes out, whenever it comes out, going to be ready for the public and not broken. Of course, being an early access aircraft, new things were going to be added from time to time, as we have done with all our products. I mean, we still sustain the Mirage 2000, which is considered an old product now when we have moved into what it is right now. We keep supporting the ABAB Harrier too. We keep supporting the MiG-19P, and of course, and our latest release, which is the Falcons map or Malvinas for the South American guys, doesn't feel offended. We keep it was out as early access, and we keep improving it, and we're gonna keep improving it because, as you know, DCS is always improving itself. So, regarding to F-15E Strike Eagle, like I said, the community and the users can be pretty certain that whatever they get in early access is gonna be the first step. We're not going back. It's gonna be ready to be used, and we're gonna keep adding features. We're gonna keep enhancing stuff and moving from there on. It's a really complex aircraft. The development of this aircraft has been so complex. We didn't take any shortcut. We actually did things that they have to be done just to give the community a really good product.
My question is, I wanted to ask, since it's a Flaming Cliff 3 still, but F-15C, so I understand nothing from that was kind of taken on salvage. You did everything from the scratch, right?
Yes, but we have a lot of help from Eagle Dynamics. They have been, like everything else we have done before, been really helpful. And whenever we need some information regarding some stuff from the F-15C and the E, they have been shared with us so we can get the best, create the best mixture of both. They look the same, they don't fly the same. So we change little things that need to be added, like drag, weight, etc. But yes, we have been a lot of help with Eagle Dynamics into the development.
When speaking about the level of detail, as you know, I have kind of early access. I'm helping develop the manual, as always, training missions, etc. But I've been talking to Tim, who showed me in the model viewer the inside of the landing gear bay. And this is something that nobody will ever look at, ever flying the aircraft, unless you do it from the outside. But everything in there, up to the smallest kind of cable, is in, and is also kind of animated. It's just amazing if you look at that, and that's something that you cannot even see normally.
Yes, well, it's our new development stand. We decided that, and it's going to happen to older models, like the ABAB Harrier is going to be upgraded 2D wise, because eventually, I'm quite confident of this. Eventually, DCS is going to evolve into a level that the user will actually enjoy watching his 3D model that he just purchased. So right now, everybody goes into the cockpit, and few people actually go out and watch the aircraft. I'm going to tell something here. As you may know or not, I come from the FSX community. I developed for Microsoft Flight Simulator probably 12 years of my career. I started with FS8 and then moved to FSX. The difference between the community, both communities, besides loving flying aircraft, and besides the obvious, DCS is a combat simulator, is that in FSX you have more time to enjoy the view. Like, actually comes out, put the outside view, and watch the aircraft view per se. And actually that is part of what's considered a paper aircraft worth or not, how good it looks.
Exactly.
DCS is a complete different beast. I mean, you really don't have that much time to go out and watch outside because you have to be really busy in the cockpit. So cockpits have to be accurate, as most accurate as you can possibly do, or legally do it, whatever you want to call it. And you take some shortcuts with the exterior model. So that's how we started into DCS. But then DCS evolved. It's more, you have a better graphics engine. It's going to keep evolving with a better graphics engine and give us a more ample room for us to play with. So our first model that was retrofitted was the Mirage 2000, which was completely redone to what it is right now. The next game, the ABAB Harrier, it was better model than the Mirage 2000, but now it needs to be retrofitted because it needs to be on top for current the engine
standards.
graphics. Yeah, exactly. And the in the MiG-19, it was done and created in a time where we knew what's coming, so it's more accurate than the Mirage or the. It came out more accurate than the Mirage or the Harrier. So having all these three products done and a lot of other models we have that are not public or you haven't seen. Sometimes I put something out there that we are developing. We have a secret helicopter we're developing. We actually have three helicopters in development, two other jets. And here comes the F-15E Strike Eagle. We have the original model that was developed for the 2012 DCS. That's 10 years now. Then we couldn't put it out completed because being the Strike Eagle interdictor and using air-to-ground radar, DCS have not back then was not ready for such an aircraft. That's why you didn't have air-to-ground radar back then. I mean, you didn't have a way to implement an aircraft like the F-15E Strike Eagle without this air-to-ground radar. So it was put in the back burner. We created all the other stuff, and then came current days, and we have to, the 3D is no longer viable. We have to redo everything. So we had a meeting with Tim, and we said, okay, from now on, this is our current standard. We gotta create everything absolutely as close as possible to the real one. No shortcuts got to be done. We have to, the animations have to go through exactly like the real thing works. I know fellow modelers, and if they are listening to this, they actually will completely agree with me. We used to have some shortcuts in animation and stuff because when you are dealing with 3D meshes, you have more room for playing than where you're creating the actual thing, right? So we have no shortcuts, and Tim understood this, and he's an amazing modeler, so he went into it and just did what Baltic Dragon just demonstrated, and really good work, 3D work, accurate, and works as it should.
Right.
And it really shows. Probably you won't see it now. Probably you won't see it, but who knows? In the future, I'm quite sure you're gonna be able to come out on plane and look at it and do like some kind of a pre-flight. But wait a minute, I'm not saying that Eagle Dynamics is gonna do that. I'm just saying probably
Yeah.
that's gonna happen.
Something in
It's
the future
happening
to look forward to.
Yeah, it's happening right now in Flight Simulator. So why is it not gonna happen in DCS? So.
No, I agree.
And you should see the MiG-23 when it comes out. It's actually the same thing, and that's a very complicated landing gear.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that at another time because I'm really interested in the MiG-23. So you said this is the most complex aircraft that you've ever built, or is that in DCS at the present time?
At DCS at present time, yes. I know more complex aircraft are coming, and I'm not saying ours is the best. I'm just saying ours is quite complex aircraft, and I have not seen a complex aircraft yet in DCS.
So what would, like off the top of your head, would you say it's the radar capabilities that are the most complex? Can you give us like an example of some complexity?
I think that the most complex part, besides developing it, that's extremely complex, it's data interpretation. Okay. How you interpret whatever the systems are giving to you. I think it's a pilot-friendly aircraft, but a heavy load work for the WISO. Okay. Because you got so many information, so many meanings of information. You have the T-pod, you have the radar, and you have a terrain following radar, and you have the vast number of weaponry you can put it under its belly and under the wings that you really get overwhelmed from what you can do with this aircraft. It's amazing. I mean, it's something I have not seen yet. And true to be honest, I don't fly it that much because it became from being fun to became something like work. So you have to start thinking you have to do a lot of pre-fly, a lot of stuff, and instead right now, it is right now, you have to make so much preparations before you take off and go and blast something over there. That it's really, you take out the fun out of it. But that's my point of view. I mean, a lot of people will actually find it as fun as you can find a plane. But you need to do a lot of stuff to fly this aircraft. I mean, read a lot of stuff, read the manual, and get ready for it because it's a lot of stuff you gotta do.
Right. So you were talking about all the data implementation. Do you ever see yourselves putting a data cartridge into the F-15 Strike Eagle
Well, I don't know.
eventually, or
We did show a video of it.
okay? I must have not seen because I've seen a lot of your stuff on Twitter.
Twitter team posted a video of his data cartridge
Okay.
getting into the cockpit. I don't know if you're aware that we have the data cartridge in the Mirage 2000, so it's gonna
Yeah.
work similar to it,
Okay.
but with different capacities because this is different aircraft. But the concept is the same.
Okay. Well, just make sure we attach that video to the podcast so people can see that in action because I'm sure everybody's
It's in my
excited
Twitter.
to see that.
But you said there was a lot of workload for the weapon system officer.
Yes.
Is it gonna be like multiplayer, multi-crew capable from the start, or?
Yeah, from day one, you're gonna be able to have a guy sitting behind you, a virtual whistle, somebody flying somewhere else in multiplayer. Yes, that's from day one. It's gotta be there. It's gonna be there, and eventually we're gonna implement an AI. The thing is that the AI that needs to be implemented cannot work in the same fashion as current AIs in other products. We're looking for doing something. Not more user friendly, but more capable because of the amount of workload they're gonna have. So, the WISO's job is to make the pilot's life easier. So, because you can do anything from the front seat. To be honest, probably you won't need a WISO, but you will be heavy. You have a lot of work in front.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that the WISO does, you can do as well. But being the capacity and whatever you can do with this aircraft, you're really gonna need second pair of hands and another brain to help you cope with all the information you're gonna do, and you can complete the mission better. So originally we didn't want to put, and this was my prerogative. I actually said it. I didn't want to include an AI because the way I see them. And like I said, it's personal. It's got nothing to do with the game or anything. It's my personal opinion. I see them kind of arcadish. It really, from my point of view, it really takes out of the reality of flying the plane.
Okay.
Because I consider this an actual simulator, and to be honest, we are also in the professional market, so we know how we move over there. But at the end of the day, DCS is a game. Sorry, guys, it's a game. So people get this to fight, to have fun, some way or the other, or to feel like they are a real pilot for one day or for 1 hour, whatever. That's why they spend money buying these things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you don't have time to connect with your buddy of yours in the internet. Probably you don't have internet. So yeah, it's needed. And it's up to anybody to use it or not. I wouldn't use it. I don't like it, but it's got to be implemented because the people want it, and it's gonna do a better product. So yes, eventually we're gonna put one. It's something we have to implement the way we want it, and it's gonna happen after release. It's not gonna come out in release. Not coming out with an AI. But it's gonna be full multiplayer compatible. I mean, you're gonna be able to have a virtual WISO in your backseat.
I'm excited for that, and because I've seen a lot of your videos on Twitter, and the Mirage radar is absolutely amazing. So whoever did the Mirage radar did an outstanding job. So I'm looking forward to the Strike Eagle's radar.
Same guy. The same guy
so.
is doing it. So
Yeah,
he's
did an
doing
amazing
an
job.
amazing work. Yeah, it's an amazing job. I mean, it's something completely different. I think the honestly thing is gonna be a standpoint from this in these years, from whenever this radar comes out to the future. I mean, it's a standpoint. Things are gonna change. I think. I'm not sure. I cannot speak for the other development teams or for Eagle Dynamics, but from us, this is our new normal.
That's amazing. So Casmo had a couple questions here, and I think we can wrap things up there because I think he gave us a lot of great information. So Casmo asked here, he says, what do you hope this module will add to DCS, and what type of scenarios and environments do you see people operating this aircraft in?
Well, I really don't know. I would like to understand the DCS demographics of what they're using, because sometimes I hear and I read a lot of people use multiplayer, but I also know that many customers just like to fly by themselves. They don't go into any internet connection or whatever. But given the service history of this aircraft, which is actually pretty much in service right now, I see people, expanding this. I mean, like you can create a lot of campaigns using this aircraft. I see a new use for the Nevada map, because it's going to be like now you can actually create a really good red flag.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of scenarios you can do right now. You can go to Nevada to train this aircraft. You have to actually create a really good red flag, like going through red flag, and then you go to an actual mission using another map like Syria or Falklands map. There's a lot of things to do due to the capacity of this aircraft. I mean, it's a bomb truck and can defend itself pretty good. So.
And on top of that, it has 22,000 pounds of fuel without external tanks. You can really fly along with it.
But if you go into a scenario like our Falklands South Atlantic map, you're really gonna need a tanker. I mean, that's something that I can't not say enough. The vastness of the map actually gives you the possibility to be flying with somebody else and not watch each other, not bump to each other, and you want to change your let's say you're going to a mission, A mission, but something changed that you have to go to B mission. It's so big, it actually gives you the opportunity to do all that kind of stuff with a single map and with a lot of people in it. I mean, that's the idea behind the size of it, and it really fits to aircraft like the F-15E Strike Eagle due to huge amount of fuel it can carry and fly inside the map. So, I mean, I think that the imagination is the limit what it can do with this thing.
Yeah, I think.
I'm sure Baltic Dragon can come with really good campaigns for it.
I'll do my best.
Because I was going to say, like, there's no other aircraft that has the terrain following radar, so that would be pretty interesting for campaigns. Gives you a whole
well, currently, to be honest, currently, there's no aircraft with TFR.
Right, correct.
Yeah. And also, I think the Israelis kind of fly it, so in Syria it would be a perfect place to have a Israeli campaign.
There's gonna be included a RAM version, but due to how tight Israelis are about their avionics and stuff, it's gonna be basically Suite 4 Strike Eagle with a RAM dress, to say it some way.
It'll be good enough.
I mean, I wrote down a lot of good stuff here. So, just to recap, it's going to be the most complex aircraft. It's going to have a awesome radar. The Mirage 2000, I love the Mirage 2000, and I love the upgrades to it, especially the pilot model. I think the pilot model looks fantastic, even though I don't know why I like it.
Amazing work.
I don't know why I like it that much, but I mean, it looks pretty awesome compared to other pilot models. The AV-8B, that was one of my favorite aircrafts, and I've been flying it a lot lately, so I would look forward to an upgrade for that. The Falklands map is pretty awesome. Performance-wise, it's really good. Plus, I like finding penguins, so maybe we can find some penguins with the radar, or the targeting pod, rather. The MiG-19 is pretty awesome, and then we got 3 helicopters, 2 jets that are coming, and the MiG-23. Is that one of the jets that's coming? Or is
No.
2
The
more jets?
MiG-23 is announced one. The A29B is also being worked on. The Super Tucano. That's something I cannot speak that freely yet.
Okay.
But the other 2 jets eventually we're going to be shown. We are not showing that much because I've learned that it gives impression to the community that we are overstressing our capacities, which is not true. But so in order to keep things like people's mind sane, just put out
Right.
what we can show now. There is something that the community must know. While we are not a huge company, we are good staff. We have a good enough amount of people working, and besides two, three, everybody here knows 3D modeling. So for us, here is like, no, let's start doing this, let's do that, and we start working, and eventually it comes out in a position to say, you know what, this is good enough to come out and ask Eagle Dynamics for a license. Others don't. I was
Right.
doing an OBAB Bronco by myself. I was just trying to do it, and so I say, I gotta move into something else because this thing's really not gonna be that good. Not as a model, not as a, but as a product. So I said, I gotta put it down for a minute. Eventually, I might go and do it again, finish it. But it never came out something like the community gonna be waiting. Oh, they did a super OBT Bronco, but they're not releasing vaporware, vaporware.
Mm.
So uh, we have so many products like that.
Yeah. I mean, we see it in the community for when Eagle Dynamics does stuff too. People are asking questions. So it's just how the community reacts, I guess.
Yes,
It's just how it
it
is.
is how it is. I think that when you have such a devoted fan base, these things usually happen.
Mhm.
And I'm used now to the fact that some people actually don't know the exact truth behind Razbam, and I've read so many stuff on the internet that so laugh so much about their uh, their ideas of how this thing is run,
Mhm.
and they are so many people they post so many fantasies like I did that, Eagle Dynamics did this to me, whatever. I like, okay, yeah. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's kind of offensive, but you know what? That's how it is.
Yeah.
People can't live without drama. Drama is important.
Yeah, oh yes, drama is part of this job.
All right. Well, amazing. I mean, I'd say I'm looking forward to this module, but I'm already working on it, so I can attest. It's just amazing.
Well, I'm not working on it, but I love it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you're gonna like it. I'm quite sure you're gonna like it. And if you are an Eagle, F-15E Eagle fan, you're actually gonna say, "Jesus, finally!"
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's been a long time.
Yes, it's been a long time, but like I said, we are not taking no short stops. We are just going the way it is, and if it's not ready, it's not ready. If it's ready,
Mhm.
it's ready. We are not cutting corners. We are not saying, "Okay, we'll fix this later." Um, it's something that you learn within time dealing with the beast that is DCS
Mhm.
as a sim engine. Everything is evolving, everything's changing, and not just that. Something I cannot stress enough to tell the community. One thing is dealing with aircraft that are not current in actual service, and something completely different is working with aircraft that are actually serving the country.
Mhm.
Uh, Happened with the Mirage 2000. It's happening with the Harrier.
Yeah.
And yes, it's happening with the F-15E Strike Eagle too. So a lot of stuff that we cannot move or go into without waiting for some kind of clearance. Because there's so many stuff that you cannot show.
Right.
So many stuff that you have access to, but you definitely cannot have fully access.
Correct.
So and so when people comes and say, I've read this a long time, oh, that things really doesn't work in real life. We know. We know it doesn't work that way. We cannot put it how it works in real life because it's a secret. It's classified. It's something being used right now.
Is there something in the F-15 that you think will, like a big thing in the F-15 that won't be in early access? Like, for instance, do you think will Mavericks be in the F-15 for early access, or?
Okay, what you should not expect in the early access of F-15 Israel is the terrain following radar. Some modes in the air-to-ground radar.
Okay.
They are being worked on because they're very complex, and some weapons. I'm not quite sure which ones, but I think that even as Mavericks are not actually used in the F-15E Strike Eagle, we are going to include them.
Mhm.
I'm not quite sure it's going to be included in the early access, but I know that it's been discussed even to add the triple rack, which I've never seen
Yeah.
in the F-15E Strike Eagle or in a picture, but probably it will be there. But it's going to be there because sometime this aircraft actually use it, but never use it in the actual service. It's like a fan service, if you want to call it some way.
Mhm.
Because if we not go and put some fan service, a lot of people is gonna be disappointed. It's like what happened with the Harrier. You remember the Maverick
Yeah.
drama about we have to do. We came so long, and we all were like, what?
Right. Yeah, I
But,
remember.
okay.
But I love shooting Mavericks in the Harrier. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, but you shooting the Mavericks it carries in the real aircraft. I mean, there is something that community likes to call Franking aircraft, like the Franking Harrier or the Franking Strike Eagle. This is not a Franking Strike Eagle. This is exactly what is suited for version of Strike Eagle. Initially,
Mhm.
I have really big hopes of eventually creating new versions, more modern versions. I cannot say that as a fact because I don't want to create some hype train.
Right.
I'm just telling that it's part of our plans, and we hope we can cope those plans. I cannot say it's set on stone. It's going to be done. Something we plan to do.
That's understandable. So, but I do appreciate. I think that's everything we have for this. I think we like to keep these like short episodes here, under 30 minutes. So, I think you gave us tons of information. So we want to thank Ron and the Razbam team for joining us today here on the AirSim podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, that's all we have this month for the Air Combat Sim podcast. Again, sorry for the sort of non-standard nature of it, but honestly, we wanted to get something out, and with the schedule being what it is, getting all back together in a short period of time to record something again was going to be pretty much mission impossible. So it took a little bit of time here to just throw what we could together, get it out to you guys. If you're enjoying the show, please, again, like and share it. And let us know how you think we're doing, especially with the new format and the way that we kind of do things. We've been getting some good feedback, but of course, you can never get enough in this business. So appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk to you later.
This has been the Air Combat Sim Podcast, a BVR production. Music by Vampire Stepdad. Want to support the show? Check out our Patreon, follow us on Facebook, and be sure to leave a comment and rating.